Turkey has the largest Kurdish minority in the region and has the most complex relationship with the Kurds. This makes Turkey particularly sensitive to the Kurdish issue in the region and the United States' support of the YPG. It is estimated that around 14 million Kurds live in Turkey, with most of them living in the southeast of the country bordering Syria and Iraq. In part 2, we look at Turkey's complex relationship with its Kurdish minority and Erdogan's increasingly authoritarian Turkey. The Kurdish issue in Turkey isn't new. Kurdish rebellions have been occurring in Turkey at least as far back as Ottoman times. According to Ottoman military records, Kurdish rebellions have been taking place in Anatolia for over 2 centuries. Its modern phase is considered to have begun in 1922, with the emergence of Kurdish nationalism in parallel with the formation of the modern state of Turkey. In 1925, an uprising for an independent Kurdish state led by Sheikh Said Piran was put down quickly, and Said and 36 of his followers were executed soon thereafter. Several other large-scale Kurdish revolts occurred in Ararat and Dersim in 1930 and 1937. The British consul in Trabzon, the diplomatic post closest to Dersim, spoke of brutal, indiscriminate violence and made an explicit comparison to the Armenian massacre. Here's a quote from the British consul. "Thousands of Kurds, including women and children, were slain. Others, mostly children, were thrown into the Euphrates, while thousands of others in less hostile areas, who had first been deprived of their cattle and other belongings, were deported to provinces in central Anatolia. It is now stated that the Kurdish question no longer exists." Kurds accuse successive Turkish governments of attempting to suppress their identity through such means as the banning of the Kurdish language in print and media. Ataturk believed the unity and stability of a country lay in a unitary political identity, relegating cultural and ethnic distinctions to the private sphere. However, many Kurds didn't relinquish their distinct identity. Large-scale armed conflicts between the Turkish armed forces and the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, occurred throughout the 1980s and 1990s, leaving over 35,000 dead. The PKK has fought an armed struggle within the country for decades. Both Turkey and the United States label the PKK as a terrorist organization. Many Kurdish politicians and Kurdish tribes oppose the PKK's violent resistance. Recent moves by the Turkish government have provided Kurds with limited rights and freedoms, particularly in regard to the Kurdish language, education, and media. However, many Kurdish politicians and activists still face heavy government pressure. Successive Turkish authorities have been condemned for oppressing the Kurds, and this has been acknowledged by the European Court of Human Rights, which documents thousands of abuses against the Kurds. The court's rulings include condemnation of executions of Kurdish civilians, torture, forced displacement, destroyed villages, arbitrary arrests, murders, and disappeared Kurdish journalists. The judgments date as far back as the 1970s, with the latest judgment being from 2014. Based on this history, it's easy to see why Turkey fears a wider uprising if a Kurdish state is realized on its borders. This is why Erdogan vehemently opposes the legitimization by Western countries of the Kurds in Syria and Iraq. Erdogan views these steps as precursors of a Kurdish state and seeks to undermine any such attempts. The West, however, is no longer as sympathetic towards Erdogan as they once were. He is viewed as becoming increasingly autocratic, especially after the coup attempt in 2016 and the subsequent referendum granting Erdogan sweeping new powers. Those new powers will turn the largely ceremonial position of president he now holds into a nearly all-powerful position as head of government, head of state, and head of the ruling party. Many analysts have suggested that these changes are an attempt by Erdogan to erode the democratic system in favor of a more centralized system, with him clearly in the center. Recent indications that Erdogan has been supporting extremist groups in Syria, and evidence put forward by the Russian military indicating that Erdogan's family could be involved in smuggling oil with ISIS has soured Erdogan's image in Western circles. The YPG in Syria now has a long border with Turkey, and the Kurds fear an eventual backlash from its new neighbor. In the next part, we will look at the Syrian ceasefire agreement between Russia, Turkey, and Iran, which has stabilized the situation and might have a profound effect on the YPG and the Kurds. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe for the next video. You guys are awesome as always, and I'll hit you up with a new video soon. Peace.